Welcome back. Ivy League colleges are super selective and among the toughest to get into. For example, Harvard's acceptance rate for the class of 2020 is only 5.2%. But if you think that's super competitive, think again. Minerva Schools has an acceptance rate of just 1.9%. This is a for-profit college startup offering a unique curriculum defying the rules of a secondary education. Joining me right now is the founder and CEO of the Minerva Project, Ben Nelson. Ben, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Maria.
So you've got a lot going on because you say you're building a perfect university, and there you are on Market Street. You've got neighbors like Twitter, Spotify, Uber. Is the environment, the backdrop in terms of San Francisco and, innovation part of what you're getting at Minerva?
Yeah, it's a big part about it. And the thing about Minerva, and any university has things that it needs to work on. The difference is that we set up Minerva as an institution that iterates all the time. So we start off from a very high base with the science of learning, knowing that what employers are looking for from students, teaching them practical knowledge that they can use no matter what they do out in the future. But then, despite starting from a higher base, we continue to get feedback from students and improve every day.
Why is it so hard to get into?
Well, we are an institution that is set up to train, find and then train people who are going to make what we refer to as decisions of consequence. Those types of decisions that have impact on others much more so than they have impact on themselves. And so to find people who have the intellectual curiosity, the raw intellectual horsepower, the humility and the passion around having to be able to succeed in those kinds of environments is extremely hard to find. And so we reject something like 10 valedictorians for every one that we admit. And we really have to find people who we believe are going to run the major institutions of the world in the future and give them the kind of training that will prepare them to do that.
I will ask you, Ben, the question that more students need to ask themselves and their parents. How much does it cost?
Yeah, very good question. So Minerva is an extremely intensive environment. So all of our classes have fewer than 20 students in them. You get personal attention throughout, not just in your class environment, but also in career support and immersion in the city. Students live in 7 different cities across the next 4 years. They start in San Francisco, and then they live all over the world. And tuition at Minerva is only $10,000.
Wow.
Now, you still have to pay for room and board, you have to live, and you have to eat, so the total price tag is about $28,000. But that's well under half the total price tag of a traditional Ivy League university, where the majority of your classes will be lectures.
How do you do that? What do you strip away in terms of cost to make it so affordable? Because we know this is the debate right now across universities. How do you get the price down?
Right. So the question is less actually about what we stripped down, and it's more about what other universities have bulked up. If you look at tuition 50 years ago, 1965, and adjust it for 2015 dollars, tuition at the private Ivy Leagues would be $10,000 a year. And what's happened in the interim is that universities got into this crazy amenities race where everybody has to build a nicer football field and lawn and everything else, and so they build these outrageous campuses.
So you want to take away athletics?
That's absolutely right. I mean, we're very much in favor of students exercising. And, we live in great cities, and there are plenty of parks and, public recreation activities.
Right.
But we don't think that students should pay $10,000 just for athletics every year.
Yeah, and that's why, Frank Luntz is here,
we also don't have.
That's why, you've got Bernie Sanders resonating with free college, Frank Luntz.
Yeah, and that's why I clearly need to exercise, if anyone does. My one question is, how is the teaching different there? How do professors, I know that there's that personal interaction, but do you do it differently? Do you teach differently?
Real quick.
Yeah, very much so. So we teach differently in a couple of different ways. So number one, lectures are banned at Minerva. Professors cannot talk for more than 4 minutes at a time, because the idea is that you want to engage students in fully active learning. Students participate in every single class, and they're assessed on how well they do in class participation. We don't do tests. We look at their project work and their in-class participation. The other way we do it differently is that we do our courses on a proprietary internet platform that we've built. So even though all the students live together, they don't go to a physical classroom. They actually in a very immersive environment, which makes the teaching much richer.
Good for you for this.